Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today we are going to cover the operations performed using tuple. Tuple is a very important data types which we have been discussing in the previous video. I have told you about list operations. In today's video I am going to talk about the tuple operations which are very much mandatory for you to learn before we proceed for the rest of the things. So today's video is going to be super important. If you are coming to my channel for the very first time, I would request you to subscribe to the channel. Okay, so let's move on. And without wasting your time, let me take you through the very important operations of tuples. They are very important. Let's move. Let me quickly open my VS Code Studio, and there's a tutorial. I have told you to install it already. Okay, if you're coming to the channel for the very first time, please do watch that in the same playlist. So I'll create a new file, and the name would be tuple.py. .py extension is very important. That's why you are telling your system basically that you're going to create a Python file where you'll save that. So I'm saving it on my desktop using Python 2025, where I'm saving all the other codes, and all these codes are available in my GitHub repository as well. So let me create this. Now this is the basic Python tuple where I would be telling you how to run those codes. So let me just quickly do that. So first of all, the most important question who are coming to this channel for the very first time, what is tuple? Rajat, what you are going to talk about? What exactly is tuple? So let me tell you guys, tuple is a collection of data types, okay? And it can be various data types. The only thing is it should be ordered and it is immutable. The very important thing here to remember is this particular keyword, which is immutability. Tuple and list, this is the basic difference between both of them, that in tuple you cannot make any changes. Once you define a tuple, that is it. So you cannot do any changes. Okay, and meaning once you create it, you cannot change its element. That's what I have written as well here as well. So this make tuple a great choice when you need to store data that should not be modified. So when you're working in a company where you want data should not be modified and any other person should not be able to do some changes in your particular piece of code, so that's why you should choose tuple there. Now let's talk about the operations one by one. Okay, so how to create a tuple? That is a very basic question anybody can ask you, and this is a very important thing from the interview perspective, immutability and the pointers which I'm going to tell you today. So how you create a tuple? You can name the tuple anything. This is a variable which you are basically making an object. This is a particular object. Since Python is a OOPS based language, what is an object? Anything which you are using in that language is an object. We'll cover the OOPS concept also in this playlist, but going forward, for now you just understand there is a name. I'm calling the tuple my tuple, and the tuple is coming in these kind of braces, while if you define the list, so list usually come in these sort of braces. Okay, but tuple is always defined in this kind of braces. So this is the name of the tuple, and line number 12 I'm just simply printing it. So if you see in the print, so the thing which I'm giving, the double quotes, whatever the string I'm passing in the double quotes, this will be printed, not resolved, and this value will be resolved. This will be a resolved value because see, if you see my underscore tuple, that value will be resolved. So the output will say original tuple and then these colon, and this whole value will be coming in the output. So this is a very basic way which basically you define the tuple. Okay, now the second operation is access the element in a tuple. If you want to access any particular element, so I have already spoken to you guys about the concept of indexing. That is very much applicable on list, tuple or other data types also. Indexing is about checking the sequencing of your elements in your tuple. So let's say when I'm giving this line number 16 and 17, if you guys notice here, so I'm giving my tuple. Inside the print statement, this is something which will be printed in the output. So that is okay. There is nothing to understand there. Now, this is something which will be resolved. My tuple, this value will be resolved. But when this will be resolving, I'm giving this thing that give me 0 index. This 0 talking about index 0. Now index always start from 0. So the first element, this is your index 0 element, this is your index 1, this is your index 2, this is your index 3, and this is your index 4. So if you give index 4, 5 will come. Now the catch is, if you see in the line number 17, I'm giving -1. So -1 means, let's say you have 3 element. So if you give 0, so the counting will start from this side. If you give -1, so the counting will start from this side. So the element which is there on the last position in any of the tuple list anywhere, okay, that will be counted as -1 index. So the output of index 0 will be 1 and the output of index -1 will be 5, and on index 4 also will give you 5. So both the cases are pretty slightly different. Okay, let's move forward. For the rest of the operations, let's go down in this. Let's talk about this one. So if you see this particular operation, we are going to iterate over a tuple. For now, we have not covered the loops, but I want you guys to remember that we are using loop and if condition both in a tuple. What I'm doing here, so my tuple I have already created on the top. You guys are aware of that just before this example. What I'm doing, for item, this is the item in this tuple. So every element like 1, 2, 3, this is referred by this item. For 1 in this whole list, print item. So basically what you are doing, you are just trying to run a loop, which is a constant loop will be running, and it will be printing like this: 3, 4, 5. Every iteration will be there on a separate line. That's how the looping works. Okay, I hope you don't have a question here. If you have a question, please comment. Okay, I'll reply to that. Now if you see the another operation, we are running a if condition here. So we are giving a condition that in the tuple I'm creating a object here, search underscore item if 3. Okay, you can mention any name. Let's say you can name it Rajat also, Rajat equal to 3. But in this condition, then you need to put if Rajat in my tuple, then print this particular line. Now if you see, I'm using this f string there. Okay, so this is something I told you in previous videos also. If f string you are using, so you can resolve the value inside the double quotes also. These are the double ticks. If you see, this is the double quote ending, this is the double quote starting. If you are putting something inside the double quotes using f string, so the value will be resolved. So this search item will resolve to 3. So if you find this 3 value in the tuple, this will print that 3 is in the tuple. And if that value will not be part of the tuple, so that the else condition will work. So the loop will basically move on to the else, not loop, the condition. I would say the condition will go to else condition and this message will be printed. Now next operation is concatenation, the most easiest one. You don't have to do anything, just define one tuple, define second tuple, just use a plus symbol. Okay, I'm creating a new tuple mentioning tuple 1 plus tuple 2. So you will see in the output, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a sequence. Okay, this is very important. Just remember plus symbol for concatenation. Okay, now let's move forward quickly for the rest of the operations, which is slicing. So the next operation is going to be slicing. So what is slicing? As the name also talks about it. Let's say we have any particular fruit. Okay, you want to distribute that fruit. So what we do? We do the slicing. How slicing concept basically works? This is a whole data. I'm just putting my knife and I'm just putting this upper data into a new data type, new data set I mean. So this is a slice of the data which will come here. So this way you can do multiple slices of the data. This is very much common English. Okay, slicing means what it means in English, in Python also. Now slicing tuple is talking about how the syntax will work. I'll create a new object, new tuple name, equal to my tuple which have elements. I show you up there, and this is the value like 1 till 4. These are the indexes. This is talking about the index. And one more thing I told you in previous video also, the 4th index will not be part of this. That's I have mentioned in the print statement. Slicing tuple from index 1 to index 3. When I am mentioning 1 to 4 with colon symbol, so that will mean 1, 2 and 3, but it will not give you the 4th value. But that is a syntax. The value which we give in the slicing concept, the last value, like starting limit we give, the ending limit we give, but the ending limit element will not come in the output. That is a catch you need to remember. Okay, so output will not show the 4th index. It will give only till 3rd index. Now unpack the tuple elements. Let's say I am defining, okay, like the elements in my tuple. So let's say I am giving A, B, C, D and E to my tuple. So now when I'll print this is going to be a tricky situation. When I'll run all these codes, obviously. First let me explain to all of you, then I'll be running. Now let's move on to the nested tuple. Nested tuple is, as the name says, tuple inside tuple. So here you can see there is this tuple this is a whole tuple. The name is nested tuple. This is the whole tuple. Inside this tuple, there is this tuple 1 and 2, where 2 elements are there. Then another tuple is here, which have 3 elements. Then third tuple is having only single element. So what I'm doing here, line number 49, nested tuple, the whole tuple I'm printing. Then only the first index, I mean 0 index means the first element. Then the first element of the index. So now this talk about index of what? Index of tuple. In the line number 51, the first one is talking about same. If you see, this is 0, but the second 0 will talk about the element. What does that mean? Means inside this tuple, in this particular whole tuple, what is the index 0? So this will print that. Okay. This is going to be very fun, guys, when we will be executing this. Let's move forward and talk about the other operations. So tuple length. How to calculate that? Very easy. Just use the length keyword. It's going to be super simple. Inside the print, I'm giving length of the tuple. If you don't want to give, that's also okay. Okay, you'll just give the len and inside that tuple. Similarly, we have one more function I told you in previous video to check the type. If I give the type and inside the name of the value, it will tell you the type, whether it's a tuple, it's a list. Similarly, this length will calculate the length of that tuple or the list, whatever it is. Okay. Now, next operation is count occurrence in a tuple, like occurrence of a particular value. So how you'll do that? Just focus on this tuple name dot count of that particular value. Let's say I want to count the value of 2. How many occurrence of 2 are there in my tuple? So this will give me that count. Let's move on. This will talk about the index of an element. Like if you give the index keyword, this is something you need to remember, guys. More than understanding, I would say that this is more dependent on the memorization. You have to memorize all these concepts. Memorize count, memorize length, memorize your index. That why index is used. Inside index, I'll give the element that will give me the index. So you have to close your eyes, think about it, and then process it as per your way. That's how I do it. Now let's move to the next one. Okay. Now tuple immutability. If you are going to assign a value, this is I have commented, but I will execute it. If I'm going to assign this value to index 0, 99. Currently on index 0, I have one value on the top. If you see the tuple, where is that value? On the top. Let me go on the top. Don't get confused. My tuple. So this is the index 0. Okay. But here on the operation number 12, I am talking about my tuple. I am assigning a value 99. What I am doing here is I am giving the index 0 a value of 99, which I'm trying to assign, and this will work in list. In list operation, if you do this, this will perfectly work. There will be no challenge. But in the tuple scenario, this will be going to throw this error. Type object does not support item assignment because it's a tuple. That is the immutability concept implemented there. Now, the last operation is convert tuple to list and back. So that's very easy. Okay. So convert list. I'm creating a new object and this my tuple and just putting list keyword here. This is the catch. Inside the tuple, inside it should be tuple and just give that inside the bracket, and outside just make it a list. Now this has been converted into a list. So once you print this particular converted list, the output will come in this kind of brackets because this is a list. And then same you can do vice versa. Just put the tuple keyword inside, there should be a list, and then print it. It will give you again the output back in these kind of braces. So this was all about the tuple operation from the conceptual perspective. Now let me run each and every code for you guys, and you guys also will be able to run this because I always share whatever data I'm doing on the GitHub. So in the description box, you will find all the link for this particular video. You'll get this whole code tuple.py on my GitHub account. Okay. Now, if I want to run some specific line in this VS Code editor, the best part about this VS Code editor is highly used. Okay. Now, I'll just select these two lines and I need to press shift enter. So you can see in the output that the original tuple has been printed. Just make sure there is no tricky here. Make sure that you are seeing everything properly because this should be properly printed in your head, that how the tuple looks when you are a beginner. Let's go back to the second thing. Now access the element. I already told you 0 index and -1 index. So shift enter. First element is 1, last element is 5. If I put 4 here, now both should be 5, right? That's what I told you. First element in tuple is 5, last element in tuple is 5, because I'm calling the fourth index and -1 index, which is basically the same thing. Okay. Now let's do iteration, which I told you already that the for loop will execute. So selected, shift enter, elements are printed. Now let's run this if condition. So we have this value 3 inside the tuple. So this will run the if condition. 3 is in the tuple, and if I mention, let's say 3000, now it should print this particular message, because if condition is false. Now 300 in tuple, no, it's not. Now let me run this, shift enter. 3000 is not in the tuple, so it's clear to you now. Now let's run the concatenation. Let me run this, shift enter. Concatenation tuple is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now let's do the slicing part, shift enter. Slice tuple from 1 to 3 is because we started from index 1, not from index 0. So it has skipped the first element, which is 1. So it's starting from 2, then it's going to second index, then it's going to third index, not the fourth index. I told you already. Okay, so this is a very tricky one. You should understand it now. If still some doubt, please give in the comment. I will reply to you on that. Now let's run the other operation. Till slicing we are done. Now let me run the unpack. This was the one I was talking to you, going to be tricky. So unpacking of the values. Okay, how this is working, let me tell you. So my tuple already had some values. 6 values were there inside this my tuple. Now I have given more 6 value. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E. So I have like this 5 value, it's not 6, it's like 5 value I'm assigning. So in that tuple, if you see, so I had 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I am doing unpacking of the tuple. So this my tuple, I assign some value. Now these value will go inside the tuple, and the corresponding value to that will be printed in the output. So that's why you're saying 1 is assigned to A, 2 is assigned to B, 3 is assigned to C, and similarly it will be go on. The 6 is not printed, but if you mention F here, F, let me do, I have given F here also. Now let me run this, shift enter. Because in this particular tuple, the value of 6 was not there now. That's why. Let's have a look at the error. So let me make you understand. If you see, the error says that it does not have enough value to assign. Now if I go to the tuple, so I have only value till 1 2 3 4 5. That's why F will not work here. If you have the 6 value inside the tuple, then F will work in that case. So let me remove the F, and this is the code you will get in my GitHub repository. Now let's run the nested tuple. Let's select this one. Let me just shift it a bit so that you can see the whole code. Now let me select this part and then shift enter I'm pressing. So you can see nested tuple as it is, it has been printed. Now for the first tuple, 0 index, it's showing you this value, because this is the tuple which is starting at the 0 index. Now this line number 50, this is the output, first subtuple. Now line number 51, output will be coming as 1. Why? Because inside this tuple 1, what is the first element? 0 index element is 1. That's why you can see the output as 1 also here. First element of the first subtuple is 1. Now let's run the length of the tuple. Length of the tuple is 5. You can see that it's very much visible. Now let's run the count occurrence of value 2. Let me run this. Count of 2 is 1, because 2 is happening only once. Occurrence is 1. That's why the output is showing 1. Let's run the 11th operation. Find the index. It will show you the index value of that element, whatever you want to search. Sometimes you want to search any value in real life scenario. Let's say you have a tuple where names are there, and my name is Rajat, let's say. So you want to search that which index Rajat is written on. So that's what you can do. You can just do index and then put Rajat inside that. This will give you the index value of Rajat. This is something, let me show it to you now. Okay, this is obviously going to hit an error. That's why it's showing that. Let me run this. See, tuple objects does not support item assignment. So reason being the immutability. Okay. This is the major catch in tuple versus list. Now let's run the conversion part. Let's select these 4 lines. And let me now. Okay, oops, it got unselected. Let's select and let's run this. So now if you see, let me show you the output, how the conversion is happening so easily. Tuple converted to list, I told you, right? These are the brackets which are going to change. Again, this is the output, tuple converted. This is the output of line number 72. If you see tuple converted to list, and then the output of line number 74, which is coming here. Okay. So I hope these are the most important operations which you have understood now. Okay, and on this note I am going to wrap up this video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, please share this video with your friends, your colleagues, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which gives me also a boost. And the good thing is that I'm posting all these codes on GitHub, so please make sure to download these codes from the GitHub repository, and you'll find the link in the description box on the top itself. So let's conclude for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys.